So I'm here today because we are going to do a review of my Fiido Titan e-bike. So this is it. I have, I would say, between 800 to 1,000 miles on it. So I feel like I'm in a good position to do a really good review on it, thorough. So I got this bike, I think, for $15.99, ordered it on a website, ordered it through Fiido. I live in Southern California, and I noticed that the bike shipped from a warehouse in Las Vegas. So even though it's a Chinese company, they're keeping these in the United States in storage or a warehouse, and then they ship from there. So I got the bike really quick. I also ordered the panniers, the rack, and the 2 extra batteries. I think I paid $3.99 for those. So all in, I'm probably in for, I think it was about $2,100, all said and done and shipped and everything. So yeah, let's get into the review. We're going to start right up here at the cockpit. And you know, grips are such a personal thing, but I love these grips. They're thin, they're very soft. They're like these ODI lock jaws or lock-ons. They don't move. Not that you're getting crazy or anything. You can see they definitely have some wear on them, but love these grips. Very comfortable, very grippy, and no, they do not move. So this is like a control module. This turns on the headlight and the tail light. You hear it beep when it goes on, off, on. You can see that it does in fact go on. It's LED, and yes, it has a tail light that goes with it, which I think is more important, well, maybe not than the headlight, but anyway. So headlight on and off. This right here changes. You see how there's an arrow right and an arrow going left. Changes what mode you're riding in. So Turbo Plus, no, so no assist. Eco Assist, Normal Assist, Sport, Turbo, Turbo Plus. I generally just ride in normal, sometimes eco, and that is because, well, I'll get into that in a minute. It does have a horn, so it sucks. It sounds pretty good from right here. It comes out of the back of the light, and when you get to about 15 miles an hour, you're basically riding through that light. Like that Doppler effect takes over, and it sucks. So this bill came with it. I use this one. It works much better. You see the M button down here, and that's going to change the screen functionality. So what it's telling you, how far I've ridden on this trip, the time that I've ridden. This is my odometer. It's at 768 miles, but it's not always connected, so I know it's more than that. My top speed on today's ride, which is 23.9 miles an hour, and my average speed, which is 9.5 miles an hour. I think you guys will be able to see that. So the mode, the M, there you go, you're going back and forth. Okay, helicopter flying over. Okay, you guys can see right here there's a little rocket. Okay, it is a rocket. And that puts it into a turbo mode. So if you hold down this down arrow, you guys are going to see that rocket disappear. And bam, it's gone. And if I hold that down arrow down again, it's back. So in this rocket mode, the top speed on the display will be about 27 miles an hour, but the real top speed is closer to 30 miles an hour. So this speedometer is not accurate. And when you turn the rocket mode off, your speed is capped at 15 miles an hour. So when you hit that 15 miles an hour, all the assisting goes off. If you're using the throttle goes off. There was a lot of chatter online about this functionality. It comes pre-built in. This is all you have to do. It's very easy. If you are not in a place where you use miles per hour, you hold down this top button and it goes to kilometers per hour. Hold down the top arrow again and it bounces back to miles per hour. And this just does what you can do up on the handlebar. It just changes the screen, and this is the power button. So there you go. Now, the shifters are excellent, excellent, excellent. I have no problems with the shifter. They needed no adjustment. The derailleur, you can see right there, which is dirty, works flawlessly. Lots of tension. I love the amount of tension in it, meaning like the pressure that it takes to shift it. It's not sloppy or loose or anything. It feels very, very good. And then up here you have the throttle. So I'm going to push this. You're going to see the bike like move a little bit. I almost lost it. So you can kind of see this throttle does have a lot of torque. If you do not want to pedal, you can just hold this throttle button down and it rides like a motorcycle. However, there is something that's kind of freaking scary about this throttle that I'm going to show you guys when we're riding around a little bit. So you're going to have to wait for that. But it's kind of freaky. So there's the cockpit. I love the display. You guys, if you watch the build, it's all built in. All you do is plug it in. All the plugs are right there underneath. Very, very easily done. This rack, you can see, just mounts to the head tube right here with these 4 bolts. It's aluminum, but it's very, very sturdy. So now we have the brakes. There's a lot of chatter online that these brakes aren't strong enough, and I completely and totally disagree. I love these brakes. I love the feel of the lever. I love the stopping power, which when I get down to the calipers, you'll see it has this barrel adjuster. So you can move the handle in and out. If you want it to be, if you have a smaller hand, you can move it closer to your hand. But what the problem with this barrel adjuster is, see how the handle now goes all the way to the handlebar? So you're not able to stop. So what this also does is as the brakes wear, it gives you more or less lever. So you can see now I have stopping power. So as the brake pads are wearing down, using that barrel adjuster on the brake allows you to adjust for that loss in distance in the brake pads, because the pads are wearing down inside. So, but the brakes, as far as I'm concerned, are absolutely brilliant. They are a 4-piston brake in here, big 8-inch rotors. I have never had a problem stopping this bike, which I'm going to get into next or soon, because this bike is really heavy. But I have not had any problem stopping this bike whatsoever. The only, well, it's not really a problem, is that you go through the brake pads really quick. So when you buy this bike, you're going to want to order extra brake pads. And I have another video showing you how to change these brakes. It takes just a few minutes. But these brakes work really, really well. You can see up front, it has this suspension fork, which quite frankly is totally junk. It sucks. It's not very good. It basically is a spring, so there's no dampening in this fork whatsoever, meaning that there's nothing inside the fork to control the rate at which it expands or compresses. So it's basically just a spring. The only control you have is the spring preload, or how stiff you want the fork to ride. You can see that's wide open. That's basically a pogo stick to lock out. You can see I ride with it about right there, firmness, and then when I hit the big whatever, it kind of smooths that out. So I like that. So when I was looking to buy an e-bike, this was important to me. I wanted 26-inch wheels, and I wanted these big beefy tires. And boy, does this bike deliver. These wheels, and also these the actual wheel itself, are brilliant, because there's no steel spokes, meaning nothing can break, nothing goes out of true. I have hit things so hard with these wheels, like a curb or something, and it doesn't even phase these wheels. They are literally amazing. And then these tires are really great too. You can see it's a 4-inch. I don't know if you can see that, but it's 26 by 4.0, so that's a 4-inch wide tire, and the ride quality is so good with those tires, you guys. And also the grip, and the likelihood of running over some glass or some whatever and puncturing or flattening this tire is like, really, it's not going to happen. So, all right, you can see this bike is a very, very short wheelbase, which contributes to some of its riding characteristics, which I'll get into later. So it can be good or bad, just depending on what you're asking the bike to do, or how you ride it, or where you ride it. It works for me. I don't mind it. You can also see the bottom bracket is very, very low to the ground, which is good because it stabilizes the bike as you're riding it. I like that feature a lot, and also getting on and off the bike, and getting the bike getting onto the pedals is much easier. It lowers the center of gravity. It's a good thing. You want a bike with a low bottom bracket. The thing to take note of though is that when you're turning this bike, especially if as you're pedaling and turning, these pedals will hit the ground. That's how low that bottom bracket is, if you lean the bike over too much. So that's just something that you have to pay attention to as you're riding it, because those pedals, as they come down, will clip the ground as you're riding it. So you just have to be careful about that. Now, I get comments on this sometimes. Oh, you have a girl's bike because it doesn't have the straight top tube. It has this drop tube. But this bike, I don't know. I think it's probably about 80 pounds. I probably should weigh it. I don't know the scale, so I haven't done that. This bike is really, really, really heavy, you guys. And getting on and off this bike, if you didn't have that, would require something, especially if you were someone smaller. So I like that it has this drop top tube. It works for me. It's easy to get on and off of, especially if this bike is really loaded up. You can feel a little top heavy, so that helps a lot. All right, now they advertise on their website this bike fits like, I don't know, 4 feet to 6'9" or some shit like that. I'm 6'3", and I'm going to show you something. You guys can see the hash marks right here, which means you should not be extending this. The seat post should not be out past this line, so this portion should be inside the frame. The problem is that if I ride it like that at 6'3", I'm basically riding with my knees coming up to my elbows. And someone who actually is a cyclist and likes to ride and does put miles on this bike, it's not an efficient way to ride. It's not good for your knees. It's not good for your hips. It really is not how a bike is meant to be read from a biomechanic standpoint. So yes, could someone 6'9" sit on this bike and pedal it around? Absolutely. You could use the throttle, blah, 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 but it's not going to fit you correctly. I did look online to get a longer seat post for this. The problem also is that because I'm so tall, you can see how far I have my seat back, and all the seat posts I could find connect right here, which means I can't get this offset on the seat to come back, which means because I'm 6'3", I would be way too close to the handlebars. So just something to consider if you're a really, really super tall person. Just know that that is one of just a limitation of the bike. So something to consider. All right, also everybody's looking at that saddle and going, what in the hell, Chris? It did come with a big giant like beach cruiser saddle, which I don't like, because I'm like an actual cyclist, and so I put an actual cycling saddle. This is an ISM, my favorite brand. Shout out to ISM, but I put this on here. It's off an old bike. You can see it's not in the best shape, but it's really comfortable. But this is also why, again, this bike is probably 80 pounds. I don't know, 70, 80 pounds. And it's got a lot of this weight in the back. It's got the batteries in the back, so the back end is especially very heavy. And you have the motor right here too. And when I was moving this bike around, like let's say I wanted to pick up the back end and swing it around, I was using the seat to do that, and it stripped the detent grooves on the seat. It stripped them out, not in the seat post, but in the seat. And so the seat was like really loose, so I had to swap it out anyway, and I just took that opportunity to put that saddle on there. So there you go. This is the motor, I love this too. This thing is so easy to charge. You just flip that up, it just plugs straight in, and when you're done, you close the lid. This is the battery, which I'm going to show you in a minute how easy that is to change. That's a kickstand that does its job. I've not had any problems. So I got these panniers with it. I really like these panniers. And what do I carry in it? I have my jacket in there. And some windscreen gloves. Just packs in there. Probably the biggest thing I've gotten in here is a shoebox. Like a van shoebox. I have my bike chain, which you're going to want with this. An extra extension to the bike chain. And a bunch of bungee cords for just strapping stuff down, because I use this for everything in my daily life. So these are the battery cases, and you can see that these come out very easily. Say one of those batteries is probably 10 pounds, I don't know, something like that. Not incredibly heavy, but definitely not light. And they just slide right in. And you zip that bad boy up. I got another one in here. They stay charged, no problems. I do have these fenders. I wouldn't ride this bike without these fenders, because these tires do pick up a lot of stuff. So, okay. Let me show you guys how easy this battery is to switch, okay? Alright, your first step. There's a little button right here. This slides down. The faceplate comes off. It's cheap plastic, no big deal. Now you can see that battery doesn't want to come out. And the point is, you can't steal this battery. Okay, so I go to the app, I select my bike, and you can see right here, there's the battery. I hit that and then listen. Did you hear that? The battery beeped and it clicked. So now, when I push this in, see it pops out. And it does have a little detent right here, which you can see is right here. You just push this in, and you're going to push that down, and the battery slides right out. And there's the battery. It's the same going in, very easy. Slide it in, and it just clicks in place. Slide the cover up. So here's the thing with the weight of this bike. If you are a smaller person, or you, I don't know, have a bad back, or are limited in some way, and you've got to try and get this bike up onto the bed of a truck, or you're loading it, or it needs to be picked up or moved, you're going to probably have a hard time the way that my bike is built up. I don't know what it would be like if you took those back batteries off and the panniers. But I mean, overall, it's still a heavy bike, so that's something to consider. Again, I'm 6'3", 220 pounds. I am in probably better shape than most people, definitely my age. And the bike is heavy, so watch this. So for me, to pick the rear of this bike up is not easy. I can pick it up, but it is really heavy and not easy to do. So, all right. So we're gonna do some riding up here, and I love the way this bike rides. It's very comfortable. Again, you can see I'm 6'3". I was able to set it up so it fits me very, very well. Very comfortable. The motor, you can definitely hear this motor, like, it sounds like you're riding an e-bike, but I kind of dig the sound of it. I don't know, I like it. Sounds kind of like moto-y. It's cool, and the harder you pedal, the more you can hear it. So, I don't know, I like it, I think it's cool. All right, here's something else. These pedals, you're gonna see I have to put my foot on the middle of the pedal. If I put the ball of my foot on the pedal, when I pedal, I hit the panniers. So you You have to use your midfoot to pedal. No big deal. You should be riding with your midfoot anyway. However, just another thing to consider. So, all right, you guys, here's something else I want to show you about. I talked about these big wheels, and when I was looking for an e-bike, I wanted a bike with really big wheels because I wanted to be able to cover a real varied type of terrain. And I'm going to show you how this bike literally rides through the soft sand. Look at this. So not only soft sand, but it has a rise right there that's going to go up and then drop back down. I'm going to show you guys how awesome this thing is. Like, literally just rides through this soft sand. And I am going to be in Turbo Plus, and you can see that this thing literally just glides, pedals through the soft sand. It's incredible. So check this out. All right, you guys, there you go. That was cool. I will take this bike and literally just ride through that soft sand all the way down to the water, and then just ride along the water. I think that's the best testament I can give you to truly what an all-terrain e-bike this is. And especially so on that Turbo Plus mode. I'm like not even really pedaling hard, and I'm just kind of floating over that sand. And all right, you guys. So overall, I would give this bike 5 stars. If I could give it more, I would give it more. I love it. I love it. I love it. Gets a lot of attention because it is such a unique design with the panniers, the front rack, and all that stuff. And downsides, has a crank arm that constantly comes loose that I have to tighten, but it's a bike ride. It needs maintenance. All I've done really is oil the chain. I don't even think I've washed this thing. There is one small glitch with this bike though, and I'm saving it till last. If you're riding this bike and you're pedaling and using the throttle, sometimes if you stop pedaling and let go of the throttle will stick. So this thing will keep hauling ass. And so if you're coming up to something and you think that you're going to stop pedaling and let off the throttle, this bike could keep going. I can't get it to like replicate. I can't make it do it every time. But it does it. And it does it more than you would think. So my advice, do not pedal when you're using that throttle, because you can let off that throttle and stop pedaling, and the bike could just keep going at whatever speed you're going at. So the throttle literally sticks at whatever speed you're doing. So you could be doing 27 to 30 miles an hour and that throttle's just locked open. And I think that's a major safety issue. I haven't Googled it. I don't know anything about it. I don't think it's a built-in feature, but just again, something you guys should know about. The one way to disconnect the throttle, so every time if I'm using the throttle and I grab the brake, the second I grab the brake, you can hear the throttle shuts down. So throttle, brake. If you're pedaling, if you're using the throttle, the second you grab a brake handle, I'm not even braking. I'm just grabbing a tiniest fraction of the brake handle and moving it. It completely shuts off all the power. So if you were to get stuck in an open throttle, just grab the brakes and it shuts everything down. And when you let go of the brakes, it won't kick off again into that stuck throttle. So that's my only negative. It's fine for me. I know about it. I'm a very experienced cyclist, and you know, it's fine for me. But I can imagine someone who's new to biking and or e-biking, and you're going really fast and you get a throttle that sticks open, could be a major problem. So I don't know. I haven't reached out to Fiido about it. I haven't done anything about it. again, this doesn't really affect me. So there you go, you guys. There's my full review of the Fiido Titan e-bike. I love this thing. I'd give it 1,000,000 stars if I could. I know there's things that I didn't cover or talk about. Please, please, please put your questions down in the comments. And also just let me know what you think. I love hearing what you guys think. I love interacting with you. I will reply to every single comment. And yeah, life is good on the Fiido Titan, you guys. Highly recommended. All right.